Danny Flexon here for Seconds Out with my old friend Frank Warren. We're here at the final press conference for probably one of your biggest fights of the year, even looking ahead. A lot of fights still not to be announced, but Daniel Dubois, so I'm looking at a picture of Joe Joyce and Bryant Jennings and getting confused. But yeah, Daniel Dubois, obviously main event against Nathan Gorman for the vacant British heavyweight title. Did you see anything at the press conference that surprised you? They're both kind of gentlemanly characters, aren't they?
They're gentlemen, and they've got this tremendous self-belief in themselves. And I just can't, you're looking for that little chink and it's not happening at the moment. They both believe they're going to win this.
You obviously know Daniel better than the average person on the street. Is there kind of another side to him? Does he open up a bit more when you get him away from the cameras?
He's pretty, he's a very quiet guy. He's not, he's not an extrovert. He's quite, you just, what you see is what you get. He's a lovely guy. When you sit down, we have some, he's got a good sense of humour, but he's focused on this. All he's interested in is business at the moment.
What was the thinking behind kind of arranging for the likes of Lennox Lewis and Frank Bruno to go and visit him, spend some time with him in the ring?
Well, I know Lennox thinks highly of him and has spoken to him, so he's been talking to him. Frank Bruno was with him because Ricky Hatton's up there with and Tyson are up there with Nathan.
So it redresses the balance a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it does, and it's nice that these guys will give some time to young kids, youngsters who are in the sport coming through.
I read this morning George Foreman's now on the Dubois bandwagon as well.
Is he really? I didn't see that. Well, good. There you go. So they're all on it. But he reminds me a bit of George because, personality-wise, obviously the punching power, but also the fact that he's very introvert. When George turned pro, he was the first time round. He was just a silent guy, silent but deadly.
Yeah. It certainly sums up Dubois. What about Gorman? He's obviously a bit more far removed. Does that mean you've seen less of what's been going on in his camp? Does that sway your thinking?
Yeah, obviously, we signed Daniel from day one, and Ricky was with Nathan, and we did that deal probably after he had about 5 or 6 fights. I'm not sure the amount of fights he had, and he came on board, and it's funny, he's changed himself. You look at him, he's in great nick today. He's obviously really, really up for this, and they're trained really well. But he's a really nice bloke. He's got a nice family. His dad's a lovely guy, same as Daniel's dad. Stan, they're really nice guys. They're boxing families. They love their sport. They've got family that fights on both sides, brothers and sisters, siblings, and whatever. They just love their sport.
Do you think part of Nathan's motivation is proving you wrong a little bit, and the fact that you have been with Daniel for longer, and will that make it a better fight?
I don't know really. I don't think of it like that. It was a fight that was made, and it's a fight that's happening, and it's happened for me. I've been around, as I always say, for 100 odd years. It's not the first time that you're getting scenarios like this, but I think this one's, when I'm looking at it and I'm looking at their records and looking at what they've got and listening to what people got to say about a boxer and a puncher. I don't think that's right. By the way, I think that they both can box, and I think that obviously they both can punch. But it's one of those fights where you can't wait to watch it. I'm really looking forward to it.
You talked about making Joe Joyce against the winner. He's obviously got the WBA gold belt. He's fighting Jennings, which if he comes through, that will be another big name scout for him. How will you go about persuading Joe to take on Nathan or Daniel? Because it's high risk, low reward perhaps for him.
Well, that's probably how you look at it, and it may not happen. He also gets himself in a position where he fights Char. So that may be ordered. So we'll see what happens. How I see this panning out, you look obviously with Joe. Joe comes. I think Joe's got a tough fight, by the way. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion in his 10th fight. When you look, this fella fought, was it Rivas, whatever his name is. He fought him. He was 11.5 rounds winning the fight, well in front, and got clipped and went over. So now he's fighting Rivas. He's fighting Dillian White, who's ranked number 1. So that's just, for me, it's a bit of a step up for him. So they're tied up with. When you look at the top of the chain, you've got Tyson, you've got Deontay Wilder, you've got Anthony Joshua, you've got Ruiz. They're all going to be tied up for the next 5. We're going to tied up for probably in the next 8 months to a year. Sure. In the meantime, these guys, whoever wins this, and maybe the losers, but whoever wins these fights, they're going to have another 4 fights. By then, they'll be a number 1. They're going to become the mandatories. This is really important moment, and and frankly they're all Brits, so they're going to be in quite good positions. And hopefully 2 of them will come through as winners. I want Joe to come through, and obviously the winner of Daniel and Nathan. As I say, they're going to be in a fantastic position. And if we wind up making the fight between them, with Joe, then so be it.